Now, more than 2 million Australians have now had COVID. The majority struck down this year with Omicron. We first heard about Omicron in November last year, and Nat, it's quickly become the dominant strain around the globe.
Yes, Kochie, the World Health Organisation is warning it's possible to catch it twice. And experts are closely watching for people who are unlucky enough to get a double hit. It wasn't long ago that COVID testing clinics across much of the country were inundated as Omicron took hold and rapidly spread. One of those who tested positive was 25-year-old nurse Sarah Crocker.
I woke up that morning with a bit of a sore throat and a bit of a cough, so when I got a PCR swab, and then, tested positive that day.
It was the second time Sarah's had COVID. In March 2020, she was living in London. Heading home to Adelaide, she caught one of the first COVID strains on the plane. Since then, at work, she's worn full protection. But it was at home from a housemate that Sarah caught Omicron.
First time I had a lot more breathlessness and fatigue. I didn't get out of bed sometimes to shower. Going to the toilet was a big effort to get out of bed. Whereas the second time I was up out of bed every day, albeit on the couch, but I moved around the house a lot more. I had a lot more energy, could go for a little walk in the backyard. Whereas the first time I was sitting in bed breathless after doing nothing all day. It was quite scary.
Catching COVID does give you some immunity, but there's debate about how long that protection might last.
I didn't have any immunity a year after having the first strain. I'd done a few blood tests and didn't have any antibodies to the original strain of COVID, so I knew I was just as susceptible to it as everyone else was. However, having the vaccine on board and I'd had my booster shot at the start of November, I was confident that I wouldn't be too sick.
Like any virus, it is possible to catch COVID again, especially a different strain. The World Health Organisation is watching overseas studies to determine just what the chances are. If you test positive to COVID in Australia, the medical advice is you don't have to quarantine again if you're exposed within a month of getting out of isolation. The Department of Health says reinfection during that time frame from any strain is highly unlikely.
The likelihood of getting reinfection is really quite small. Anyone who's had Omicron and has been vaccinated has got what I call super immunity, hybrid immunity, because they've got protection from both the vaccine and from the virus.
But medical experts agree that Omicron has an ability to evade immunity compared to previous variants, and it's more transmissible.
We've only known Omicron for 2.5 months, but there's already some evidence that people with weak immunity can get it a second time. The majority of people are protected for at least several months, so you can get it twice, but it's unusual.
But even if you've had COVID and been triple vaccinated, that doesn't mean you should disregard precautions like masks and social distancing.
Certainly people who are vaccinated and have had mild Omicron feel much safer. However, you don't go out and catch it. That's a silly idea because you never know when you might get it severely. You never know when the next variant might come along. Every 6 months we've been having a new variant. Mostly it's gotten milder, but there is a chance the next one could be more severe. Never play dice with COVID.
So even if you've had COVID, you should still be very mindful about reducing your risk of another infection.
Yeah, and don't delay getting a booster as well.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people, because so many people got it over summer, over Christmas, New Year, I reckon it lured so many into a false sense of security. Oh, I've been through it.
Yeah.
Don't need to worry about it anymore.
After you're fully over it, within a few weeks or so, within that next month or so, get it done. Yeah.